Picture this. You're standing in the appliance aisle of a massive big box store. In front of you, two incredibly long rows of nearly identical-looking white and stainless steel boxes. They literally all claim to clean your clothes perfectly, yet some cost, $500 and others run well over $1,500. It's an incredibly overwhelming and stressful decision, right? Well, take a breath because you're in exactly the right place. Welcome to this explainer, which is going to serve as your ultimate, completely stress-free buying guide. We're going to cut right through all that confusing marketing noise and break down the great debate, front-load versus top-load washing machines. Here's the game plan for today's explainer. First, we'll look at mechanics, tumbling versus agitating. Then, efficiency versus convenience. Third, we'll tackle the mold elephant. And finally, finding your perfect match.
So, let's jump right into part 1. Mechanics, tumbling versus agitating.
Okay, let's dive into this. Every single performance difference we're about to talk about actually traces back to just one physical root cause. To understand those differences, we really have to look at how these machines physically move your laundry around. On one side, we've got the horizontal tumbling of a front-load machine. You can think of this as a gentle gravity drop. Your clothes are lifted up by paddles inside a horizontal drum and then repeatedly dropped into this shallow pool of water. Honestly, it's a lot like how your dryer works. But on the other side, we have the vertical agitator of a traditional top loader. Now this is more of a wrestling match. You've got this tall central post, the agitator, twisting back and forth in a drum filled with a whole lot of water, physically rubbing the clothes against each other and against that post to scrub the dirt away.
Now, what's really interesting here is that there's actually a third player that's become incredibly popular lately, the HE top load, or high-efficiency top load. This is just a brilliant hybrid. It gives you that classic vertical top-loading design, but it completely removes that tall central agitator. Instead, it uses a low-profile disc, sometimes called a wobble plate, right at the bottom to create a rolling or swirling motion. It uses significantly less water than a traditional top loader and honestly sits right in the sweet spot between those two classic designs.
All right, moving on to section 2, efficiency versus convenience.
Let's see how those physical mechanics we literally just covered directly impact your wallet and, of course, your watch. This brilliantly illustrates the real-world trade-offs you're going to have to consider. Just notice the stark contrast between upfront cost and wash times. Traditional top loaders with agitators, they save you money up front at the cash register for sure, and they wash your clothes way faster. We're talking a standard cycle in just 30 to 45 minutes. But, hold on, look at the operating cost. Because they use 2 to 3 times more water and therefore a lot more energy to heat all that water, they cost quite a bit more to run over time. Now, front loaders definitely demand a higher upfront investment, and yeah, they can take anywhere from 45 minutes to over 2 hours for a standard wash. But because they use gravity and just that shallow pool of water we talked about, they save you big on long-term utility bills.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is this 1,000 to 1,600 RPM number. That is the spin speed of a typical front-load machine, compared to just say 600 to 800 RPM for a lot of top loaders. Why does this matter? Well, energy usage isn't just about the washing machine, right? It's about your dryer too. A front loader spins incredibly fast, practically wringing out significantly more water from your clothes before the wash cycle even ends. So your laundry goes into the dryer much drier to begin with, resulting in a significantly shorter, much cheaper drying cycle. And that energy savings? It easily offsets the slightly longer wash times and the extra electricity used for that super fast spin.
But, hey, efficiency isn't just about electricity and water. Sometimes it's literally just about space. If you live in an apartment, a condo, or just have a tiny laundry closet, stackability might be your absolute ultimate deciding factor. Front-load washers are universally stackable. You can fit a whole washer and dryer vertically in just a 27 to 30-inch footprint. Traditional top loaders, on the other hand, obviously require you to open the lid from above, so they basically mandate a side-by-side setup. For a lot of people, this stackability factor completely overrides all other considerations like price or wash time. Which brings us to section 3, the mold elephant. All right, it's time to address the elephant in the room, the most notorious, well-documented downside of front-load machines. If you have ever hesitated to buy a front loader, it is probably because you've heard about the dreaded mildew odor. The reality is, the rubber door gasket has folds where water, detergent residue, and lint can just collect. Because front loaders have a horizontally mounted drum, they absolutely require a tightly sealed door to keep the wash water from pouring all over your floor. And that seal is created by a very thick rubber gasket. Furthermore, because the door is sealed shut during and even after operation if you close it, air just doesn't circulate. Top loaders, by contrast, have that open top design that naturally ventilates all on its own, which is exactly why they rarely ever develop these mold issues.
But wait, here is the really good news. You are entirely in control here. This mold issue is completely preventable with just a few very simple maintenance habits. First off, literally just leave the door slightly ajar after every wash to let the drum air out. It's that easy. Second, take 5 seconds and quickly wipe down that rubber gasket with a dry cloth. Third, and actually this is a really big one, use only HE or high-efficiency detergent, and honestly, use a lot less of it than you think you need. Excess suds literally feed mold. And finally, just run a monthly tub clean cycle with some white vinegar or a machine cleaner. If you can handle these super quick steps, you will literally never have an odor problem.
All right, final stretch. Section 4, your perfect match. Okay, so we've covered the mechanics, the costs, the maintenance. Now let's pivot from the technical specs to real-life application. I want to reassure you right now, there is no objectively wrong washing machine out there. There's only the wrong machine for your specific habits. So let's figure out exactly who you are. If these next priorities sound like you, well, you're the ideal front-load persona. You should definitely buy a front-load machine if you're treating this as a 10-plus year investment. You want the absolute best cleaning performance for everyday dirt, and you care deeply about long-term water and energy savings. Maybe you live in a small space and absolutely need to stack your units. You regularly wash bulky items, like big winter coats or super thick comforters, and you want a tumbling motion that is really gentle on your delicate fabrics. If you fit this profile, and you really don't mind bending over to load the machine or doing that quick routine wipe down of the gasket, the front loader is absolutely your clear winner.
Now on the flip side, let's look at the top loader persona. This machine is going to be perfect for you if your budget for the upfront cost is pretty tight. It's also fantastic for large families who just need to run back-to-back high-speed wash cycles to get through absolute mountains of laundry quickly. Also, if you have back or knee problems, the ergonomics of just dropping clothes in from a standing position are a massive plus. Maybe you also prefer a mechanically simpler machine that is generally much cheaper to repair. And let's be honest, if you love being able to pop the lid open mid-cycle to toss in that one stray sock you dropped on the stairs, the traditional top loader has your name all over it. And of course, we absolutely can't forget our middle ground. You should seriously consider an HE top loader if your priorities sit right smack in between the two. You want the massive capacity and the ergonomic no bending down benefits of a top loader, but you really want much better water and energy efficiency than those old school agitator models provide. But most importantly, if you just cannot get past the fear of the front loader mold risk, but you still want modern high efficiency cleaning power, this hybrid model is just an incredible choice for you.
Well, we've laid out all the facts, the hidden mechanics, and the real-world trade-offs right here in this explainer. So we arrive at our final thought, and this pretty provocative question. What are you optimizing for? I mean, really, are you optimizing for upfront cash in your pocket today or long-term utility bills tomorrow? Is it all about saving space or maximizing speed? Keep in mind that once you actually choose your category, brand reliability and build quality are going to be your next big hurdles to clear. But by knowing exactly how these machines work under the hood and what they demand of your daily life, you are now completely equipped to walk down that chaotic appliance aisle with absolute confidence. So, which one is going home with you?